So I'll start it now in three, two, one. So I think this was a debate about whether AI should be allowed to continue the works of deceased authors. And the central question is just very simple. What we value more? Is it the preservation and continuation of art or the authenticity of it in the authorial integrity of that specific author was already deceased? So, for the verdict or the decision of this round, I give the win on side affirmative. So congratulations on side affirmative and congratulations on side negative. So let's first start what side affirmative proved to us. So we argued that AI allows society to continue unfinished and discontinued creative works. The main contribution I got from that was the framing that art is a collective cultural experience rather than something permanently lacked to one individual creator. There's also an explanation that AI can learn artistic styles and likely to extend stories or artistic projects that would otherwise disappear and increase access to creative content, etc. So what I'm able to get in their strongest comparative point was that continuation creates social benefit, i.e. more knowledge, more art, for example, or the preservation of creative legacies for future audiences, and so on. On side and negative, I think they focus more on the discussion of authenticity in the moral rights, which is also valid. They argue that AI cannot replicate the lived experience or emotional intention of the original author, and therefore AI-generated continuation risk likely to produce just hollow or misleading work, and also having more isolation or detachment. They also ask a lot of reputation about quality and reliability of this AI, i.e. that this is inaccessible and that they claim that AI lacks genuine human emotion and connection within society. So the key clash here in this debate is just simple. Was the continuation versus the authenticity concept on side negative? So on side affirmative, they needed to improve that the benefits of preserving and expanding artistic works outweigh the loss of perfect originality. On side negative, they needed to prove that authenticity is so essential to the point at which that continuation becomes harmful or illegitimate at the end of the day. The reason why I give this win on side affirmative is because they successfully shifted the metric of evaluation from is AI identical to the author to is continuation better than the permanent loss? Because at the end of the day, we are talking about deceased authors and they are already dead. So I think that framing is already built and established from your first figure alone, and there's no also counter policy or counter framing on side negative, and therefore I needed to buy that. So I think that one negative just they just mostly prove that AI is different from humans, but they did not demonstrate or tell us why difference as necessarily leads to harm or why society is first of having extended works available at hand. The another important question we would like to discuss is in terms of the cultural ownership, because this is the clash that both teams was agreeing upon. So on the side affirmative, there's arguments that art evolves into a shared cultural experience after the creator's death, for example, meaning the continuation benefits society collectively. On side negative, they like you to tell us that there will be moral rights, but the problem is that they did not clearly show how this likely to be enforceable or likely there will be tangible harm or explain why audiences cannot distinguish AI continuation from the
với
original works. So
99%
yeah,
phá
the
hụt.
winning condition
Nếu
from
nè,
side
rơi qua đêm
affirmative
và
was proving the comparative benefit. Even if AI isn't perfect, as what their third speaker said to us, unfinished or disappearing entirely is a worse outcome than allowing this type of continuation with much more transparency or accountability.
Always do
So
it
yeah,
on my own, so I
congratulations
gotta
to
get through it.
side
And the
affirmative
only
and
thing I
congratulations to
know is
side
to love what I'm
negative.
doing.
Okay,
Never give up, never slow till
now
I
the
finally
feedback is
prove it.
done. I'll
Never
just give
listen to the
each of
no's, I
you
just wanna keep
commendation
moving.
as
Keep
well
my
because
head
all
up
of you
when I
did
act.
well.
Head up,
Okay,
that's a
I'll give
fact. Never looking back, I'ma
each
keep myself on track.
speakers or
Keep my
each
head up,
team
staying
a
strong.
very
Always
brief
moving on. Feel I don't
feedback so
belong.
all
Tell my
of you were
thoughts to
able
move
to
along. Push
take note.
myself to be
Again,
the
everyone,
best.
please do
Try
take
with no
notes so you can
regrets.
improve.
Live
Let's
with
start with
every
the
breath.
affirmative
See my
side.
message
So I
start to
think that
spread.
Nick,
And
as the
I had
first
so
speaker,
many
attempted
dreams.
to
They made
establish
it
the
your teens. Like
foundation
it
of the
really
case
what it
by
seems. Try to
arguing to us
find
that
out what it
AI
means.
allows
Always do
continuation
it
to
on
creative
my own,
works
so
and
I
improve
gotta get
efficiency
through
and
it.
access
And
to
the
art.
only
What
thing I
he did as
know is
well
to
is
love
that you're
what I'm
able to
doing.
introduce the
Never
idea
give
that
up, never
technology will
slow till
plays
I
a role in
finally
expanding
prove it.
artistic
Never
production
listen
and
to
that
the
society
no's, I
benefits
just
when
wanna
works do
keep
not
moving.
disappear
Yeah, I
after an
put out
author's
all this
death. However, I believe that the structure from the first speaker and affirmative needed to have a much more clearer framing. So the open speech should define the mechanism more clearly, how exactly AI is allowed to continue works, under what limit it will be allowed, and why this produces benefits beyond simply just, more content or more outcome, for example. So in debates like this within the production of AI or AI configuration, for example, I believe that first speakers should prioritize clear definitions, the clear framing, and a much more strong principle that guides the entire bench. Because as a first speaker and affirmative, you have that specific burden, and that is non-negotiable. Let's now move on to Ben as a second speaker for an affirmative. So I think that he improved the team case by explaining how AI learns artistic styles and how to preserve knowledge that would otherwise be lost. So I believe this was a good extension work because you're able to move towards the impact and especially the discussion on accessibility and preservation. What you can prove is the comparative engagement, and this is also non-negotiable for second speaker. So second speakers must actively clash with the side negative, sorry, by explaining why they're concerned or why their rebuttals about authenticity, for example, about emotional depth of connection within society or individual are less important than the societal benefits that you're able to get on your side inside affirmative, right? So I believe that you had strong material, but I think that it needed clear weighing, not just what AI can do, but why that matters more than side negative ones. So Steven, I think that as a third speaker, you're able to show the confidence in summarizing and responding to opposing arguments, which is a good thing. And you're able to try to explain why art becomes a collective cultural experience. I believe that framing helps your side win because as a third speaker, those are the things that you need to do.
Grok
Necessarily
Imagine by
don't need to
XAI.
launch
Now
arguments
on
that would be
Artlist.
considered as a
Built for
late
rapid
matter.
generation.
Please do take note of that as a third
Without
speaker.
compromising on
What you need to
precision,
do is to give
you
the
can create
analysis why your
expressive
side is winning, why you're able to prove these things from your further speakers or the previous speakers that you've had, and what are the things that you're able to discuss exclusively and contributed within the round. So yeah, I think that please be careful because I think that implicitly you introduce new arguments about cultural ownership and the social belonging that should have appeared earlier in the debate within your speakers. So during prep time, do down these concepts and ideas within your teammates. So third speakers are not supposed to add new substantive arguments. So your role is just to wait, compare, and to crystallize why your team already wins. So the correct template is just to completely identify the main clashes and explain which side wins each class and show how those wins decide the debate. So what I'm going to suggest now is that focus less on adding ideas and more on proving inevitability of your victory through weighing. So let's now move on negative side. I'll promise I'll make this very quick so you guys can also end the session and leave this and have a very good evening. Okay, so on negative side, I think Alex's first speaker clearly identified the stronger opposition conclusion, which is on the ideas of authenticity, for example, and the ideas of artistic intention. So, Alex, you're able to successfully highlight it that AI can replicate human experience, which was a strong supporting principle. What you should improve is the impact analysis. So, you explain the difference, but the problem that you need to explain before when society becomes worse if AI is used for example, what are the consequences of using AI as your mechanism to improve art in instant. And first speakers, I believe, must go beyond this type of just attempt to discuss things on, but then just left the judges with an open-ended question. So yeah, please show me or other judges the concrete consequences. Next thing is on Emily as a second speaker. I believe that able to have a structure about your rebuttals and you have a lot of important idea of moral rights. This is where extension is actually good, and the discussion of artistic integrity. I think that this was a good strategic direction on your end because you're able to directly challenge side affirmative framing. However, the main problem why all these are not mostly credited is because your analysis just sometimes became just abstract or became broad. What do I mean? So when you're able to discuss moral rights, for example, implicitly, you need to also explain the practical implication of this, i.e. who is harmed, how audiences are likely to be misled, or why cultural damage is likely to occur in the end of the day. So I wanted to believe that second speakers should share this type of principle thing that currently happen within the process inside the round and get tangible impact and directly weigh against side affirmative. So last thing that I would like to comment is just involved in the third speaker for side negative. So I think that RB, you're able to engage heavily in rebuttals and try to challenge AI reliability, which shows a good engagement with the debate. Keep doing that. However, similar to side affirmative third speaker, which is what I've mentioned earlier, you still introduce new reasoning about alternatives and technical limitations that were not fully developed earlier from your previous speaker. I believe, and this is the last time I said this, third speaker should not introduce fresh arguments or new arguments, but you can't give new analysis within an already established cases that from your previous speaker. So as a third speaker, your role only is to collapse the debate into the cautious or what are the key arguments that happen and explain why under a family house authenticity or that sweet idea was placed in continuation under experimental. So the win would be in favor of your side. So I think also your speech needed to have more weighing and more expansion. So yeah, just an overall comment, both teams was able to have engagement and also you guys were able to point out lots of good things. But the problem is that more often than not it's underdeveloped. There's lack of mismatch problems, and lastly there's lack of brilliant fulfillment of your roles. So those are just me comments. It will just reflect on your feedback. Okay, so that ends up the whole session for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. I don't know if Sir AJ is still here. Let me just check. Okay, Sir AJ is not here. Okay, everyone. If you don't have any more questions, then you are now feel free to leave. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending tonight's session, and I hope I can still see you again next week or other time. Goodbye, everyone. Yes, Emily. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, that was the next.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, you have a question?
This is
Okay. If you guys have no more questions or concerns, you may now leave the. Everyone. Goodbye, then. Goodbye, everyone.
Destroying the paper bags, nuzzling on your cozy lap. Oh, he is a tiny cat. Cheeto, Cheeto, zooming like a hero. Cheeto, 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 zooming like a hero. Cheeto, Cheeto, Cheeto.
Wait, go with the wait. Wait, I'm so smart. I'm so smart.
It's a beautiful day outside. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. On days like this, kids like you should be burning in hell. Turn around, kid, it'd be a crime if I had to go back on the promise that I made for you. So don't step over that line, or else, friend, you're gonna have a bad time. But kids like you don't play by the rules, and guys like me, it ain't easy to be played for fools.